on 105.5 FM and WNSP.com.
We got a whole new attitude.
A whole lot of sports, plus traffic, weather, local and national news with Mark Heim and Lee Shervanian.
It's 8:05 and hour number 3, the opening kickoff. Mark Heim, Lee Shervanian with you right here on the sports station WNSP and WNSP.com. At 8:30, we're going to talk some Auburn with Ronnie Sanders of Auburn Undercover, but we now are joined by a very special guest.
From Atlanta, Tim Card, actor, stuntman, filmmaker. Tim, hearing the Dukes of Hazzard theme, does that bring back some memories?
Oh, yeah, some fond and not so fond memories. Definitely some cuts and bruises there.
Hey, come on, working with Daisy Duke, that can't be all that bad.
No, that was a highlight, most definitely.
Tim, when Lee found that out, you became his number one idol.
Absolutely.
He is. To say he's a huge fan would be an understatement.
Yeah, why do we want to talk about Alabama Wishbone Boys anyway? We can talk about the Dukes of Hazzard, right? Tim, how do you go from what you've done, actor, stuntman, to being the filmmaker for this the Alabama Wishbone Boys?
Well, I've always had been extremely passionate about the Wishbone era at Alabama. Growing up as a young child, with the Wishbone, and it just always stuck to me, and there's a big place in my heart for it. And about 4 years ago, I went to Coach Mal Moore and told him, that I wanted to do a film on the Wishbone offense and call it the Wishbone Boys. And he was so excited and so supportive and helpful. And he was, let's do this. This has definitely got to happen. And so we went back and, regrouped and getting the strategy, how to get it started. And then he since passed. And so we kind of had to start over again. So I went to my cousin Buffy Donlin of Wenzel's Oyster House and came up with, let's have a reunion for these guys. And we had it last year at Orange Beach. It was a great turnout. The players loved it. All the coaches loved it. It was a huge event, and which Wenzel sponsored.
Tim, what was the? You said Mal was all for. What was because I know you have to get approval from the university or the athletic department, any athletic department, to get that type of access.
Correct.
How open were they to that kind of thing on both occasions that you had to go? Were there any hurdles for you?
We went and met with Bill Battle and the athletic staff last year, and they were definitely behind it, supportive, and wanted to see it happen. Yeah, you definitely have to go through the university athletic department to get their blessing to do this, and everything went well with that. But we got their total support.
Okay, Tim, when's the timetable for the release, and where is it going to be shown on the SEC Network, on ESPN, or just what?
Well, we're gunning for the release in April. We'd like for it to be the weekend of the 8A game of 2016. As far as SEC Network, ESPN, et cetera, we're still in working negotiations with that. That's something that hadn't been settled at this time, but as we get closer, it will be.
What is basically the theme of the Wishbone Boys? I mean, it takes in a lot of years and so forth. What are you really focusing in on?
Well, first of all, the beginning. The beginning is how the Wishbone was placed at Alabama, and all the details of that, and in the what happened after the 1970 season, and then just prior to the 1971 season. A lot of things went on that people don't realize, and how it came about, and some things that very interesting stuff that the viewers will definitely want to see when the film is out. And the 1971, 72, 73 teams of those seasons, were the fundamentals the Wishbone in Alabama, which snowballed the success of the 1978 and 79 championships.
You've already met quite a few of the players, I think, through these reunions. Anything that sticks out with these interviews so far?
Well, I tell you that some of those interviews were very touching, and a lot of the players teared up talking about Coach Bryant, and they got a lot of really good stuff. Like I said, we're still, in the production, finishing up phase. We are trying to obtain completion funds, and it is on. You can view this on Kickstarter.com. Just the Wishbone Boys, and it's on Facebook, the Wishbone Boys. You can view the trailer, and Twitter, it's at the WBB Film.
Tim, in your research for this, to this point anyway, because obviously you're such a huge fan of that era and that style, was there one thing in particular that just kind of surprised you? Something that you said, "Man, I didn't know that."
Well, I tell you, there was one thing I just recently found out in a meeting yesterday with Coach Jimmy Sharp, which was the offensive line at that time, and Steve Sprayberry was the offensive tackle in that era in the early days. And I found this out yesterday, that they didn't have a Wishbone Boys playbook, and that was like, wow. It was all chalkboard.
Huh. That's crazy. Tim Carter, our guest here on WNSP.
Tim, Terry Davis, wasn't he one of the really great quarterbacks in the Wishbone era?
He was the best. He was the first Wishbone quarterback at Alabama, and a great interview with him. And he just had the quick feet and quick hands that which the Wishbone had to have, and it takes a special quarterback to do that.
Tim, let me ask you this. When you talk about the great quarterbacks at Alabama, you usually start with Namath and Stabler. Do any of these Wishbone quarterbacks feel slighted? Well,
there's some, that went to pro, but usually, Wishbone, to move ahead into like pro, they don't do that type of formation in pro football. But I think all the career at Alabama, I think they all did well. Stephen Cheeley, Jeff Rutledge, Gary Rutledge, Richard Todd, those guys. Richard Todd went on to have a great pro career.
In fact, he's they're tomorrow at the Alabama game. They're introducing the 75.
The 75 team. That is correct.
You going?
I'll be viewing it on TV.
Okay, you promised.
My writers are going there.
Okay, you promised a story about the Dukes of Hazzard. You were the stuntman for John Schneider. Just a quick story.
Well, there was one particular scene where I was in the General Lee, and I had to jump. And the scene was where Daisy was in Uncle Jesse's truck, which is the character Uncle Jesse in the show, which I know you're totally familiar with. And she was about to go off a cliff, so I had to jump from the General Lee to the truck and try to stop it. And when I jumped to the bed of the truck, I bounced. My chest bounced, and my legs were dangling up under the tire. And there was a young director in those TV shows, because they shoot those in about 10 days, a TV show. And he just like, "I'll keep going. I'm about to get sucked under the truck, and I managed to flip over into the bed of the truck, and then we cut, and then they got the shot. So then the first unit came in and finished it up.
Tim Carter, our guest here on WNSP for just a couple minutes more. You are no stranger to the city of Mobile, both professionally and academically, right?
Oh no, that's my birthplace.
Yeah.
Mobile is my birthplace, and I've made films in Mobile. I did one in 2000 called Keeper of Souls, a.k.a. The Waking, and I want to say that Eva Golson was the greatest, at the film office. She just moved mountains for you, and I've done definitely some. I worked as a stunt guy on Under Siege.
Under Siege, yeah.
And I understand that Steven Seagal is getting ready to do another film here in Mobile.
All right, let me ask you this. Joey Jones, head coach of South Alabama, a member of the Alabama Wishbone teams. Is he going to be part of this?
Oh, yes. We interviewed him. He was at the reunion. Absolutely. He was in the lighter years. But, yes, he is definitely a part of it. Absolutely.
Tim, we'll keep in touch with you, okay, as we get closer. Now, it's still a couple of months to go before this is released. Be nice if you had like a premiere here in Mobile.
Yeah, we need to work on that for sure. We were going to a couple of them. A premiere would be great here. We were going to have one in Tuscaloosa, and then Mobile would be great. And that wouldn't be a problem to set up.
Tim, before you go, tell everybody again one last time how they can get information on the documentary you're working on.
The document, you can go to Kickstarter.com, and you just type in the Wishbone Boys in the search project box. You can view the trailer. You can has all the information about donations and pledges to help support and fund the picture and the completion funds. Also, Facebook. Go to Facebook, and it's the Wishbone Boys. Okay, the Facebook, and type in the Wishbone Boys. You can see all the what's going on, the events that are going on, all the posts. The trailer is on there to view as well, and also at Twitter at the WBB Film.
Tim, great stuff, man. Great catching up with you. Wish you the best of luck with the project. We look forward to doing it again real soon.
Hey, thank you so much, man.
Absolutely.
All right.
Tim Card. Actually, if you just go to wishboneboys.com, you get everything you need right there. I'm looking at his bio. The guy did acting and stunts for Under Siege, Stroker Ace, Sharky's Machine.
That's Burt Reynolds stuff.
Yeah, that's all Burt Reynolds stuff, with the exception of Under Siege, of course. And I'm not sure he gave you exactly what you were looking for in the old Dukes of Hazzard.
There's others.
I have no doubt.
There's others.
All right, we went a little long on purpose. When we come back, we'll do the Miller Lite Golf Report. Ronnie Sanders of AuburnUndercover.com will join us to talk some Tigers, and we'll talk to you. Stay with us. It's Sports Station WNSP. It's the opening kickoff.